Alright folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching the YouTube channel known as Alpha Investments, where we dig through the world of cardboard. Today we have a small collection purchase here, and we're going to be discussing and going over some interesting updates on some things, and we're going to kind of discuss my attitude right now as we are into February of 2025, everybody. So first, let's take a look at the cards here. We're starting off here with an amazing VG. I think that means it's very good to move forward with this graded of number 3. We have a beautiful, well-loved, unlimited recall over here. It's, honestly, I'd give it a 4. It's pretty decent there. Next, we've got ourselves an unlimited time walk. Maybe around a 4 or 5. Pretty similar. No, same thing. Probably around the same very, very heavy played, well-loved time walk. Moving to number 3 here. We got ourselves probably the nicest card in the whole batch today. Unlimited Mox Ruby. And I would say probably going to be, maybe in the 6 to 7s. It's a little bit nicer. Probably the nicest one in today's batch, everybody, as we move forward here. Next, we've got the almighty, infamous Sapphire. The King Dingaling of the Moxons. Am I right, everybody? Very, very well loved. Again, going to be around that same grade 3, 4 range. Front has a good eye appeal, though, on that particular card. Then we move over to the world famous, Dan's infamous, Dr. Frazier's most infamous signature. I know, right? It's like, bro, really? So we've got the Pearl over here in all of its glory in the same heavy played condition, everybody. And then coming up next is probably the most ridiculous example of unlimited power I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie. I'm probably actually going to grade this a PCG because I want to get a 1. I'm probably going to submit this because I actually want to get a 1. I actually had a hard time. It took me an extra day or so just to authenticate it because it was so difficult to actually get the details and registration marks of the card, the card stock, the sample. I had such a difficult time. It actually took me longer. There was so much dirt. I was thinking the thing was inked because of the black. I couldn't. It was so bad. This is my official worst piece of Power 9 I've ever owned. This is by far a PCG 1. Maybe a PSA 1.5. It's still going to be a CGC 10. Maybe a Beckett 9.5. But still, this is wild. I just mostly want to share that with you guys. Absolutely wild. Then we got an interesting piece here. This is the one I was actually, out of the whole video, this is the card I was most excited to own. This is an Alpha Badlands. And of course, this one, the condition's not terrible. I would say this thing's going to be probably around what? The 6 or 7s? It's really not that bad. This one, compared to the rest, is the eye appeals, well, alright, maybe 5 or 6s. This one's actually pretty nice. Beautiful eye appeal on that. Then we move over to our only beta card in the transaction, a beta Mox Jet. And now again, situations like this, you got to be real careful and do a little extra work and checking everything because it's very difficult to tell alpha beta corners when the corners are so absolutely obliterated and destroyed. This sucker is going to grade probably a 2 or a 3, maybe a little better than a 1. But when you start having this much of the actual card stock, can I even zoom into that? When you have that much of the card destroyed and removed, it gets a little bit more difficult to authenticate things. So I don't like to buy super heavy damage stuff like that because it just becomes, the authenticity checks that I usually run on certain things start to become more difficult when there's so much damage to the card because it also can hide tampering. When a card is this bad, obviously this isn't a beta, it's a white border, but if a beta card is so bad, it can get more difficult to tell if it's a reback, if it's a counterfeit. When you start destroying so much of it, it starts to blur some of the data points. So it makes me a little nervous. I have to spend a little bit more time. This is just, obviously we got a gorgeous signature on there. Leonard's signature, nice little two-tone there, raised silver black. Again, you guys know, at least the signature looks nice compared to Dan going, yeah, sure, I'll sign something. There you go. Anybody? At least he signs and everything. At least this looks nicer on my playmat here. So I'm still not a huge signed card fan. I know it's a big thing in the Magic world, the Magic community. in Magic Cons, Magic Fests, Magic events. It's always been a big thing with the artists, and having a signature or having sketches or having altars done. It's always going to be a big thing. And it's not always about the monetary value. It does add a nice little symbolic special thing to it. Now that you guys have seen some of these cool things, I'm going to kind of give you guys some Rudy points of talking here for the next couple minutes. Otherwise, you guys are free to click off the video. I want to go over a few small things. Number one, you should pause the video and buy a shirt from me on eBay. The link below, because I make $5 on you. And then when I go to Taco Bell or Chipotle, or when I go to Chick-fil-A and I eat some food, I will think about you in those special private moments. Number two, the hot market remains, in the world of Magic the Gathering, the number one hottest sector of the market remains modern sealed collector boxes. Number two is going to be good old Commander life. Commander decks, Commander cards remain probably the second hottest thing for collectors, investors, and even players. That is where the hot Magic the Gathering market is. Now, number three, there is still quite a bit of excitement with actual draft boxes going extinct, the new play boxes. Set boxes, not so much. History is starting to, kind of turn against set boxes. We're seeing some interesting data points with the set box. Remember, set boxes only existed in 2021 with the new Zendikar set, and with Zendikar Rising and Kaldheim. And they only made set boxes for a couple years, and they were phased, and it's starting to feel like set boxes may be kind of frowned upon longer term, because they were supposed to be more expensive than draft. But we've only left the set box era by a year, and we're already seeing draft boxes being valued the same as the more expensive set box. So that's becoming an interesting thing that we're going to have real firm answers to probably in another 1 to 2 years. We're really going to know. But it's been an interesting data point that I didn't think was going to be that drastic that quickly. I thought that was kind of bizarre. Now, we have some other interesting and strange things. Now, when you have some of the Toxic Destroyed sets from the 2021 era, Streets of Barry Manilow, Streets of Capenna, we're still seeing some interesting things where the collector boxes are rebounding and still going up, because all collector boxes are. So when we see collector boxes of Streets at 150s now, you have the draft boxes of Streets pushing 90 to 100. So we're seeing some interesting data points where Streets of Capenna has draft boxes at almost 100 and collector boxes at almost 150. You're seeing really weird market anomalies where the draft and the collector are very close. Now, we saw something similar a year and a half ago, about 20 months ago, at the bottom of the bear market with Baldur's Gate. We saw Baldur's Gate collector boxes at an all-time low of about 110, 120 for maybe 30 days. Now, at that data point, we also saw Baldur's Gate draft boxes at $80 still. So there's been some small windows in history where a collector box and a draft box get really close to each other, which is completely insane. Completely insane. And eventually the market self-corrects and adjusts and that goes away. But we have seen some of that weird stuff over time. So, stepping back, number one, Magic the Gathering, collector boxes remain the hottest thing. Number two, Commander decks and pretty much the Commander formats, the money flowing in and out of Commander staples, that seems to be number two. Number three, we're still seeing quite a bit of demand, which to my surprise, and including you guys and patrons and viewers, the demand for the new play boxes on Magic is still far higher than I expected. Now, draft boxes are essentially over with and extinct, but play boxes, to my surprise, on the open market, are averaging $135 to $160 a play box online, with taxes and shipping, maybe a little bit more. But that's been very surprising. And of course, in this market, the internet's oh wow, look how cheap Rudy sells his play boxes for. They're only $118. So in this market, everybody thinks, wow, that's amazing. In the bear market from 2 years ago, everybody thought it was terrible because the market pulled down so much, it looked like I was the evil overpriced scammer. So as the markets swing, everybody's attitude changes. So play boxes remains very, it's a lot stronger than I thought it'd be. Okay. Now, going to the lower levels, the depths of Rudy's basement, we see activity for serialized cards. We see activity for vintage Magic the Gathering cards like this. See, I'm still here. There's movement. Cards like this you see on the camera now. Those still remain at basement levels very, I mean, the most positive thing I can say in this month's update, I know we update every month, but the most positive thing I can say is there is an uptick in activity on vintage cards. So that is something that's, how do I say? It's technically a bullish indicator. Usually when you have the uptick in activity of vintage cards, that usually leads to an uptick in prices in a bull market. I don't know if that holds, but that's where we're at right now. All right, so that's where everything stands there. Now, last part of this video, I'm going to give you my opinion. I still think vintage remains flat for the next 3 to 5 years. I think it remains very just blah. I believe we need some more years between us and you guys in Magic 30. It's still too fresh. The damage was still too massive. That kind of wave, that nuclear level disaster of Wizards management is going to take a very, very long time for the market time in a newer generation and people and younger people to get older. It's going to take years for it to kind of have slowly people moving back into it. Now, it is nice that we're seeing an uptick in activity in vintage, but it's not enough to really be, call it a bull market or a major change. It's nice that there's more activity, though. I will agree with that. Next, serialized cards. Serialized cards do seem to be still a very unknown question mark, okay? We have some serialized cards, Lord of the Rings, Holiday Special, doing very, very well. Okay, everybody wants them, but again, we can't really use that data point because everything in that set, people are just fighting for. Even the regular cards, the regular poster cards, the One Ring, the regular chase cards, and the Surge foil. Like, people just want anything from Lord of the Rings Holiday Special. So we can't really use the data point of the top tier serialized cards from that set when that's a unique circumstance. But overall, there's no real data to understand what the true value of serialized cards are in Magic, if they're going to hold, if they're going to go up in the future, if they're going to go down, or nobody's even going to give a shit. We don't know. We're still trying to understand the true value of those type of cards in Magic the Gathering. Because there's a lot of sets, but nobody wants them. They just sit there. They're just not that good. People just don't care there's a number on the card. So it's a very uncertain thing. So if I had to point you to a direction, I think having exposure to some serialized cards, there's something wrong with that. But right now, the market loves collector boxes. That is the number one thing in modern new Magic and sealed product. They're small, they're concise, they're compact, they have special cards only available in the collector box. Wizards has made them actually collectible again. They're very, very tight supplies, and they seem to finally figure out the whole situation. I guess moving forward, they're going to just stick with the one showcase serialized card per set, which is great and all. But the cream of the crop remains the sealed collector booster box. They're small. They look awesome. I've seen many patrons and you guys send me pictures over the years where you have shelves in an office or a business or a store or anything. And it just looks awesome to have like one of every single collector box like lined up on a cool shelf or with like a neat light over it. Like they display and they look and they feel really, really good. And I think that is going to continue to be really, that's going to be the cream of the crop. We have not discussed it enough on this channel, but it really feels like Commander deck sets is really an under-discussed, underutilized item, including me. I don't keep positions of older Commander decks or anything. And clearly, that's something that was a mistake. Sealed Commander deck sets are turning out to be great long-term items that even I looked past. And I think, actually, a lot of my patrons who bought a lot of Commander decks from me over the years and kept them, because they're the ones who were telling me, like, Rudy, why don't you talk about this? The patrons are the ones sending me messages like, Rudy, I've been buying Commander deck sets from you, like, Like right now, to shill for myself, well, by the time you watch this video, it might be over. But like Sunday night, going into release week, I've got 3 pallets of Aether Drift Commander decks. And I sell them by the sealed case, which is a sealed brick, and there's 4 Commander decks inside of this. 2 of each deck. So 2 are the same, and there's 4 decks. And honestly, dude, these decks are already online. Like $75 for one, like $45 for the other. So like the 2 decks are like Jesus, what are they, like $120? So all 4 decks are like $240 right now. And again, when I run a patron sale on this, I'm just, I charge like $189, $199 or something shipped. So you're already getting almost like 1 deck for free. And every time I run Commander deck sales, they always sell out and do really good. Now, yes, I don't sell individual decks and you just want the good deck. I don't deal with any of that. It's just sealed Wizards bricks, and you guys just, you can flip them, give them to your friends, open them, play with them. I don't care what you do with them. You can stack them in the bathroom and you can think about me. You can draw my face on it. I don't really care what you do. So Commander decks is another thing that's been really underappreciated and really been a quiet thing that I wasn't paying attention to until you all and patrons and messages were like, Rudy, bro, do you know how well I've done? Like, have you pulled the price of older Commander decks from like Boulder's Gate and Eldraine Arrows and Brawl decks and all these different Commander set things they did from the past? And no, I didn't until people started saying it. And I was like, holy smokes. Some of these things have been incredible. So that's been an interesting little update that I have not been putting much effort into that I need to. One other thing before I end the video, this is already going longer. This is supposed to be like a 5-minute video. One other thing I want to go into, I need to make more content on, is the secret lair thing. The secret lair situation has really evolved into a new beast in 2024, 2025 now, where they actually have very limited quantities of secret lairs. And, well, a lot of secret lairs, well, they're doing really, really well. Like, whether you have them sealed or you just open them and you have the single cards from them. Secret lairs, well, they are becoming, and again, it makes me cringe to say this, they are becoming very collectible and investable to a lot of people. Now, I don't have them. The only secret lairs I have, I have a lot of secret lairs, but the only way I have them is because of all the collection buying over the years, and they come in big collections. Now, I am not going online and buying a bunch of secret lairs. I can't keep up with it. There's too many. The delay, the cost, it's just not for my business model. But I have to acknowledge, and again, you guys brought this to my attention, that secret lairs have actually been having incredibly good performance. And we'll have a more detailed conversation on it. But before I end the video, I'll say one last thing about secret lair. Essentially, secret lair, if you buy a $40 secret lair, it either pretty much doesn't do anything, or it goes down to 30, stays at 40, or it skyrockets to 100 to 200. So the way you approach stuff like that, which again, we'll have a more detailed video coming up here, but the way you approach secret lair is you have to do the spread, the shotgun spread, because you don't know what's going to do what. Oh, Rudy, I can predict. I don't care. No, you can't. No one's from the future. And if you are, you ain't going to tell anyone because no one's going to believe you anyways. You have to buy all the secret lairs and deploy a lot of capital and buy the maximum you can, because what happens is when 1 or 2 secret lairs go crazy from $40 to $200, you make so much money on that one. It doesn't matter if 2, 3, 4 other ones stay flat and you break even. It's still, on a mathematical scale and law of large numbers, it becomes very profitable. And there's actually a disturbingly good amount of liquidity with it too. People always talk about liquidity and how much people actually want them. And it's pretty frequent sales online. So that's all. So conclusion today's video. I bought some well-loved old Magic cards. The market still loves new collector boxes of Magic. Loves Commander decks. Loves secret lairs. The market's still uncertain with serialized cards in the valuation long term. And, well, the market still loves regular play boxes and draft boxes. That's today's conclusion. Hope you guys learned something. Have a beautiful day as always. Remember, everybody, life is short. You blink your eyes. And, I'll end the video, I promise. But I think one of the reasons why I think we all forget how fast time goes is because it feels like every day we wake up, there's some new Magic spoiler, some new Magic set. And there is. Don't discount that. But time is going by The busier you are, and the more engaged you are with your life, your family, your loved ones, your hot girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you're doing, and you work all the time, the more you're entrenched, entangled in life, the faster it goes by. Some very wise Wall Street people once taught me, the days go by slow, but the years go by fast. And you got to be careful because, well, you think each day can be a long day or a bad day. You blink your eyes and you're over here worried about this one long day or this bad day at work or bad weather or some drama in your family or your car or repairs or and you blink your eyes and a year goes by, 5 years go by, and you don't realize you don't realize how short life is, everybody. So spend it doing things you love, spend it around people that help better your life, and everything will work out. It really does. It's not easy, but it's supposed to be tough. That's how you learn about yourself.